This sign means A. Heavy traffic ahead. B. Do not enter. C. Railroad crossing. D. Yield. B. Do not enter. This sign means that it is not safe for drivers to enter the indicated road or driveway from their current direction. If you come across one of these signs, you should immediately turn around and drive a different way. Night driving can be more difficult than driving during the day because A. Cars overheat more quickly at night. B. Visibility is reduced in the dark. C. It is more likely to be raining at night. D. You are more likely to encounter a motorcycle at night. B. Visibility is reduced in the dark. At night, your field of vision is reduced. To make sure you are able to react to hazards on the roadway, always use appropriate headlights. Drive slowly enough that you are able to stop within the distance that you can see ahead. If you're going to turn left onto a one-way street, you should complete the turn into A. The right lane. B. The lane closest to your previous lane. C. Either lane. D. Neither lane. B. The lane closest to your previous lane. You should always turn from the lane that is closest to the direction you want to go. Turn into the lane closest to your previous lane. Always signal when A. Changing lanes. B. Pulling into or out of a parking space. C. Pulling into traffic from an alley or parking area. D. All of the above. D. All of the above. Always use the proper turn signal when changing lanes, pulling into or out of a parking space, or pulling into traffic from an alley or parking area. Communicate with other drivers on the road to help prevent accidents.
Want to ace your DMV test? Click on the link below and get your guaranteed cheat sheet.
This sign means A. Sharp turn ahead, slow down. B. Work crew ahead. C. Side road. D. Playground ahead. A. Sharp turn ahead, slow down. Warning signs prepare drivers for upcoming road conditions and hazards and are usually yellow with black markings. This sign warns drivers that there is an upcoming sharp turn and that they should lower their speed accordingly. You are driving in the left lane and want to move into the right lane. You should A. Check your mirrors, signal, and look over your left shoulder for other vehicles before changing lanes. B. Check your mirrors, signal, and look over your right shoulder for other vehicles before changing lanes. C. Check your mirrors, signal, and look over both shoulders for other vehicles before changing lanes. D. Check your mirrors, signal, and change lanes. B. Check your mirrors, signal, and look over your right shoulder for other vehicles before changing lanes. When changing lanes, you should check your vehicle's blind spots by looking over your shoulder in the direction that you want to move. Always check your mirrors and turn on your directional signal before beginning a lane change. Who must yield when a driver is turning and a pedestrian is crossing without a traffic light? A. Whoever started moving last. B. The driver. C. Whoever is slower. D. The pedestrian. This sign means A. Narrow bridge ahead. B. Lane ends or roadway narrows ahead. C. Industrial area. D. Freeway on ramp ahead. B. lane ends or roadway narrows ahead. Warning signs are usually diamond-shaped with black markings on a yellow background. They alert drivers to upcoming hazards. This sign warns drivers that the right lane is ending or that the road is narrowing ahead. Increasing your vehicle's speed. A. Increases your field of vision. B. Decreases your field of vision. C. Makes it easier to see cross traffic. D. Has no effect on your field of vision. B. Decreases your field of vision. The faster you drive, the smaller your field of vision becomes. As your speed increases and your field of vision decreases, you must be extra alert to potential hazards. At a school crossing sign, you should A. Always stop, whether there's a stop sign or not. B. Watch for children and be ready to stop. C. Always sound your horn when you see children. D. Be ready to help children crossing the street. B. Watch for children and be ready to stop. You must always yield to pedestrians who are in or about to enter a crosswalk. Be alert to pedestrians when driving across intersections or turning. Seat belts benefit drivers by A. Helping them maintain control of their vehicles on winding roads. B. Reducing the risk of injury or death in a crash. C. Helping them maintain control of their vehicles on rough roads. D. All of the above. D. All of the above. Your chance of avoiding serious injury or death in an accident is increased if you are properly wearing your seat belt. Seat belts also help drivers maintain control of their vehicles when driving on winding or rough roads and when trying to avoid a collision. Drinking alcohol and driving is A. A minor traffic safety problem. B. A serious traffic safety problem. C. Safe if you have only had a few drinks. D. Only dangerous to the driver who drinks. B. A serious traffic safety problem. Driving while impaired or intoxicated is a serious traffic safety problem. Safe driving is not possible when you drink alcohol or take other drugs. Driving under the influence is dangerous both to you and to others on the road. When approaching a traffic signal displaying a steady green arrow, drivers A. Should merge into a lane in the direction of the arrow. B. Should slow to a stop, if it is safe to do so. C. May turn in the direction of the arrow after yielding to traffic and pedestrians already in the intersection. D. May drive straight through the intersection. C. May turn in the direction of the arrow after yielding to traffic and pedestrians already in the intersection. A green arrow displayed on a traffic signal tells drivers that they may turn in the direction of the arrow. You must be in the proper lane for such a turn. Yield the right-of-way to vehicles and pedestrians already in the intersection. Which of the following lights indicates that you should slow down and proceed with caution at an intersection? A. A flashing yellow light. B. A flashing red light. C. A solid yellow light. D. A solid red light. A. A flashing yellow light. A flashing yellow traffic light at an intersection indicates that drivers must slow down, proceed with caution, and be prepared to stop. When driving in traffic, it is safest to A. Fluctuate your speed to keep alert. B. Drive faster than the flow of traffic. C. Drive slower than the flow of traffic. D. Drive with the flow of traffic. D. Drive with the flow of traffic. Crashes often happen when some drivers go faster or slower than other vehicles on the road. Always try to drive with the flow of traffic, within the posted speed limit. If you leave your vehicle unattended, you must A. Turn off the engine. B. Lock the ignition and remove the key. C. Set the parking brake. D. All of the above. At an intersection with a yield sign, you should A. Always stop before entering the intersection. B. Yield just to the traffic on the right. C. Yield just to the traffic on the left. D. Slow down and yield the right of way to other traffic. D. Slow down and yield the right of way to other traffic. A yield sign means that you must slow down and yield the right of way to traffic in the intersection or roadway you are entering. If you experience a tire blowout, A. Take your foot off the gas. B. Do not immediately use your brakes. C. Gradually slow down and pull off the side of the road. D. All of the above. D. All of the above. If you experience a tire blowout, take your foot off the gas pedal and do not immediately apply the brakes. Gradually slow down before gently applying the brakes and pulling off the side of the road. Emergency vehicles. A. Have the right of way when using sirens, horns, and/or flashing lights. B. May use a loudspeaker to give instructions. C. May follow each other. D. All of the above. D. All of the above. You must yield the right of way to police cars, fire engines, ambulances, or any other emergency vehicles using a siren or air horn and a red or blue flashing light. Follow any instructions given over the emergency vehicle's loudspeakers. Emergency vehicles often follow each other, so you should proceed only when you are certain the way is clear. As you drive, you're required to stop your vehicle. A. At an intersection with a stop sign. B. Where there is a red light. C. When a traffic officer orders you to stop. D. All of the above. D. All of the above. Situations where motorists are required to stop include approaching intersections with stop signs, approaching intersections where a red light is either flashing or illuminated, or any time when a traffic officer orders your vehicle to stop. You are coming to a railroad crossing where the crossing signals are flashing. You should A. Stop and look for a train. B. Slow down and look for a train. C. Look for a train, then speed up. D. Do what the vehicle ahead of you does. Drinking coffee after drinking alcohol. A. Decreases blood alcohol concentration. B. Cancels the effect of the alcohol. C. Has no effect on blood alcohol concentration. D. Increases blood alcohol concentration. C. Has no effect on blood alcohol concentration. Drinking coffee will not reduce your blood alcohol concentration, BAC. While it may help you to stay awake, it cannot change your BAC or make you sober. As a pedestrian, you should A. Always insist on the right of way over a vehicle when using a crosswalk. B. Never enter a street or crosswalk when vehicles are approaching. C. Enter a crosswalk at any time because it is the vehicle driver's responsibility to stop. D. Use crosswalks only if they are convenient. This road sign means A. The road ahead turns sharply right, then left. B. The road ahead turns sharply left, then right. C. The road ahead curves to the left. D. Construction ahead. A. The road ahead turns sharply right, then left. This sign indicates that the road ahead will turn sharply to the right and then to the left. This sign means A. Crossroad ahead. B. Flagger ahead. C. Lane ends. D. Turn right or go straight. A. Crossroad ahead. Warning signs prepare drivers for upcoming road conditions and hazards and are usually yellow with black markings. This sign alerts drivers to an upcoming intersection. If you begin to feel tired while driving, the best thing to do is to A. Get some coffee. B. Open your window. C. Stop driving. D. Turn on the radio. C. Stop driving. Being fatigued while driving is similar in danger to driving under the influence of alcohol. If you begin to feel tired while driving, the best thing to do is to stop driving. To check your blind spot before changing lanes. A. Look into the left side mirror. B. Look into the right side mirror. C. Look into the rearview mirror. D. Look over your shoulder in the direction you plan to move. D. Look over your shoulder in the direction you plan to move. To check your blind spot before changing lanes, you should look over your shoulder in the direction that you plan to move. A good defensive driver. A. Drives slowly at all times. B. Looks out for the actions of other drivers. C. Travels at a constant speed. D. Only drives in familiar areas. B. Looks out for the actions of other drivers. Even the most experienced drivers can be distracted while driving. A defensive driver looks out for the actions of other drivers and anticipates potential problems. Coming to a complete stop at an intersection, yielding to cross traffic, pedestrians, and then proceeding through the intersection when the way is clear corresponds with A. A solid red light. B. A flashing yellow light. C. A solid green light. D. A flashing red light. D. A flashing red light. A flashing red traffic light means the same thing as a stop sign. You must come to a complete stop, yield to cross traffic and pedestrians, and then proceed when the way is clear. A flashing yellow light at an intersection means that you should A. Slow down and proceed with care. B. Continue normally through the intersection. C. Stop and proceed when a green light appears. D. Stop and proceed when the way is clear. A. Slow down and proceed with care. A flashing yellow light at an intersection means caution. If you approach such a light, slow down, look, and proceed with care. A driver who is taking a non-prescription drug should A. Read the labels on the drug before driving. B. Drink alcohol instead. C. Continue to drive regardless of any warning labels. D. Drive only during daylight hours. A. Read the labels on the drug before driving. Many over-the-counter medications can affect your ability to drive safely. If you take medication, Even a remedy for colds or allergies that is not prescribed, check the label for warnings about its effects. If you are unsure, ask your doctor or pharmacist about driving while on the medication. To be safe when crossing a railroad, you should A. Look both ways, but only when the red light is flashing. B. Listen, look both ways, and then proceed if it is safe to do so. C. Cross especially quickly when a train is approaching. D. Quickly pass under any lowering gates. B. Listen, look both ways, and then proceed if it is safe to do so. Railroad crossings are always dangerous. Drivers should look and listen for an approaching train coming from either direction before proceeding across the tracks. Watch for signals indicating an approaching train and never proceed until you are certain it is safe to do so. To check your blind spot when changing lanes to the left, you should glance A. Over your right shoulder. B. At your side mirror. C. Over your left shoulder. D. At your rearview mirror. C. Over your left shoulder. To check your blind spot, glance over your shoulder in the direction that you want to move. When you see other drivers around you acting or reacting in anger. A. Don't make eye contact. B. Don't react with hand gestures. C. Distance yourself from the situation. D. All of these. D. All of these. When other drivers are behaving angrily, you should take action to physically and mentally distance yourself from the situation. Avoid making eye contact with them, or making body movements or gestures that could provoke them. Slow down, move over, or do whatever you safely can to put yourself out of danger. You come to an intersection that is blocked by other traffic. You should A. Go slowly until the traffic ahead moves. B. Get as close as possible to the car in front of you. C. Stay out of the intersection until you can pass through. D. Sound your horn to make the cars move up. C. Stay out of the intersection until you can pass through. You cannot enter an intersection if traffic is backed up on the other side and you cannot get completely through the intersection. Wait until traffic ahead clears so you do not block the intersection. What should you do when you see this sign? A. Look for a train station ahead. B. Signal before going any further. C. Slow down and yield for trains. D. Stop. C. Slow down and yield for trains. This sign indicates that there is a railroad crossing on the road ahead. You should always slow down when approaching a railroad crossing. Trains cannot yield to cars, so you must let them pass before crossing the tracks. When is it illegal to drive below the speed limit? A. When driving slowly disrupts the normal flow of traffic. B. When in heavy traffic in a construction zone. C. Only when driving in rural areas. D. When driving under adverse weather conditions. A. When driving slowly disrupts the normal flow of traffic. It is illegal to drive so slowly that you disrupt the normal flow of traffic. You may receive a citation for driving too slowly. When driving past a vehicle that has just stopped in a parked position on the side of the road, you should A. Assume that the driver will open the car door as you approach. B. Speed up. C. Slam on your brakes. D. Assume that the driver will wait for you to pass before opening the door. A. Assume that the driver will open the car door as you approach. When passing a vehicle that has just parked parallel to the road, you should assume the driver will open the door as you approach. Use extra caution when driving near parked vehicles. You must stop for a school bus. A. That is parked on the shoulder of the road with no one in it. B. When it approaches you, even if its lights are not flashing. C. If you are both driving on a two-lane highway and its red lights are flashing. D. Whenever the driver waves at you. C. If you are both driving on a two-lane highway and its red lights are flashing. You must stop when approaching a school bus that is displaying flashing red lights while stopped to pick up or drop off children. On a two-lane road, traffic moving in both directions must stop and remain stopped as long as the red lights near the top of the bus are flashing and/or the stop arm on the left side of the bus is extended. Allow a larger space cushion than usual when stopping. A. On an incline. B. At an intersection. C. At a stop sign. D. At a toll plaza. A. On an incline. You should allow more space in front of your vehicle than usual when you are stopped on an uphill slope. If the vehicle in front of you rolls backward toward your vehicle when traffic begins to move again, it is less likely that there will be a collision.